All right, welcome to Patriots Corner Live with Dr. Hill Law, your source for unfiltered conservative analysis. We're here to dissect this week's biggest stories in politics and the economy, all from a grounded and conservative perspective. No spin, just straight talk about what matters to you. We'll delve into the issues shaping our nation, hold our leaders accountable that uphold our core American values. Um, Sorry about I start looking around, just trying to make sure I've got everything set up. If you're new here, please hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you don't miss future streams on YouTube. And then also hit that follow button on Rumble and Twitch. Um, well, they're at it again. You knew it was coming, didn't you? The moment America shows a little strength, the moment our president takes decisive action to protect this country, the moment our incredible men and women in uniform pull off a mission with absolute flawless precision, the enemies of the people in the mainstream media crawl right out of their taxpayer funded holes to try to tear it all down. Folks, this isn't just bias anymore. This isn't a different point of view. What we're seeing from places like CNN and the New York Times is a calculated, deliberate campaign of disinformation. It's a coordinated effort to lie to you, the American people. It's an effort to spit in the face of every single member of the United States military who just put their lives on the line for us. They are like termites chewing away at the foundation of our national confidence, hoping the whole structure collapses just so they can say they were right about the builder. They are poison in the well of public information, and today we are bringing that antidote. You can catch Patriots Corner live 3 evenings a week on YouTube, Rumble, Twitch, and Facebook. If you can't catch it live, you can listen to it, all the episodes, on Spotify, Amazon, and iHeartRadio about an hour or two after it airs live. Or you can watch them all on our website at Patriots Corner with drhilllaw.com. Again, that's Patriots Corner with drhilllaw.com. Additionally, you can register for free on our website, which will give you access to our weekly newsletter that we put up, and also you'll receive an email if the time and dates change of any of the episodes, because sometimes right now I can't do them on all the exact same days. Your engagement is crucial to the success of Patriots Corner, so if you have a question or want to make a statement, please do so. I will review them at the end of each segment, read a few live, and answer any questions from respectful comments that foster intellectual debate. Your feedback is invaluable in shaping the discussion. Also, don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe to keep the conversation going. Now, so we can get started here. Hold on one second. I'm just trying to figure out why I'm not seeing my trying to figure out where my chat bot went to, but it seems to be hiding somewhere. So I will see what's going on. It should pop up on my screen, but let's go ahead and get going in the main section. Now, just a few days ago, under the direct orders of President Donald J. Trump, the U.S. military conducted Operation Midnight Hammer. Our forces took out 3 of Iran's most critical nuclear weapon sites. This was a massive victory for American strength, a victory for the security of the entire world, and a victory for every single patriot who is sick and tired of our enemies thinking they can threaten America without consequence. All right, it's okay. I'm live over there, so I can see. All right, I can see my live chat there. All right, cool. Sorry, I was double checking to see where my chats are because it popped out of my other one. But only days after our pilots were back on base, CNN and the New York Times were on the air on their front pages pushing a narrative so poisonous, so completely false, it sounds like it was written by the Iranian regime itself. They want you to think it was a failure. They want you to believe this historic display of American power was a dud. It's like watching a championship game when your team wins by 50 points and the commentators spend their entire post-game show talking about a single missed free throw. Today, we're not just going to debunk their lies, we're going to expose their agenda, and we're going to show you exactly why they're doing it. Now, for our first, pause for a second, just wait and get here for our first segment. All right, got that one there. I can see my YouTube. Let me get, I'm just trying to make sure I got all my content here. Okay, so it is live on YouTube. Good. so I can see my YouTube. Get to my YouTube channel real quick, then I can see the chat box from there. Since my chat box is not showing up on my main screen, I'm going to pull it up on the other ways. I was hoping it would show up beyond my software but it's not. So now let's get started with our first segment, segment 1, the Lion Media Montage. Now let's just take a second and look at the pure, unfiltered propaganda they've been pumping onto our screens. It started almost right away. CNN, citing their favorite anonymous sources, always anonymous, right, starts peddling this story that the strikes only set Iran's nuclear program back by a few months. A few months, let that sink in. They seriously want you to believe that 14 30,000-pound massive ordnance penetrators, our most powerful bunker busters dropped with pinpoint accuracy on these terrorist factories, did little more than just inconvenience the mullahs in Tehran? Come on, people. Really? I mean, are you kidding me? That's like saying a hurricane just inconvenienced the beach house. It's an insult to physics, an insult to military technology, and most of all, an insult to your intelligence. Because that's what the mainstream media thinks of you. They think that you are that unintelligent and that you are that gullible that you would actually believe them. Now, then you get this headline from the New York Times: Fort facility severely damaged and not destroyed. You got to pay attention to their word games here. They are masters of the malicious modifier. Severely damaged. It sounds bad, but the key phrase, the one they want stuck in your head, is not destroyed. It's a classic propagandist trick. All right, is the semantic difference between a building being reduced to a crater of smoldering rubble and one that just needs a new coat of paint and some drywall. They're actively trying to manage your perception, to plant that seed of doubt, to frame this incredible military achievement as some kind of partial success, a near miss. They're playing word games while the safety of the free world is on the line. Then you have the on-air talent, the so-called journalists, looking all somber and concerned, talking about leaked intelligence, They say it like this stuff just magically appeared on their desk. They act like they're noble messengers of truth, but what they really are is willing partners in an act of sabotage against their own country. They are guilty of treason. They are leaking classified military action material during a time of a military action and other countries at war. Even though we're not technically declared at war, that is still releasing classified material in wartime, which is treason, punishable by death. So President Trump does not need to back down here. He needs to keep going. They are laundering classified information cherry-picked and spun by some low-level loser in the intelligence community, as White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt so perfectly put it. This isn't journalism, it is basic espionage of a political agenda. They hold up this legally obtained scrap of information like it's the Holy Grail while ignoring the mountain of the on-the-record evidence that refutes it. Because they just cannot believe President Trump. And of course, they bring you on their so-called experts, who are almost always some disgruntled former official of an academic or an academic with a known grudge against the president. They come on to show more doubt, talking about how the centrifuges might be largely intact or how uranium might have been moved. They create this fog of uncertainty, this cloud of skepticism, all to achieve one goal: to rob the American people of a victory and to tarnish the president who made it happen. And see, here's also another thing they fail to mention. I mentioned this last night in my show. The not the Fort facility, but the Isfahan facility is the facility that they actually have the nuclear reactors at. That is where the process starts and where the process ends. The Isfahan facility was totally destroyed. Nobody disputes that. Without that facility, they cannot start the enrichment of uranium. And also, even if they can get, let's say the Fridal facility somehow survived, or they somehow did get a couple 10,000-pound centrifuges out of there with some 60% enriched uranium, and they could set it up in the basement or another bunker somewhere in their country. Even if they could do that, they cannot get it from 90% enriched to the actual metal ball formation that you need for a weapon, because they do not have the reactor in the process that they needed at the Isfahan facility to do that. And there is no way they can rebuild all this stuff without us knowing. And they know now that if they try to rebuild it, President Trump is not a president to be messed with, that he is not afraid to take action. And they know that they try to rebuild this stuff, it will be even worse the next time. So I doubt they will try it. So look at the narrative they have built in less than 24 hours. They took a powerful, decisive act of American strength and twisted it into a questionable gamble. They took a perfectly executed military operation and painted it as a miscalculation. All right. And they took the words of our commander-in-chief and our Secretary of Defense and treated them like lies, while treating the whispers of an anonymous, treasonous leaker as the gospel truth. This isn't reporting. It's not it's a psychological operation, and it's being waged against you. Now, as we come to them, our first segment, I would like to remind you to please like, comment, follow, and hit the subscribe button. Also share so you won't miss any of the future episodes. Also, I will now take any questions, reply to a few comments before starting the next segment. Don't forget to check out our website at Patriots Corner with drhilllaw.com. That is Patriots Corner with drhilllaw.com. Also, you can sign up for free to access our weekly blog, receive notifications about our next live show, and hit the subscribe button, which takes you to our locals community. There you can support the show, gain access to extra content, and participate in one-on-one discussions. I'm going to take a little drink break here before I get started on to segment 2. But, yeah, I mean, this is just getting ridiculous. It's just the same old with these leftists. Okay, now for the defense of our heroes. All right, let's leave the fantasy world of CNN and the New York Times behind. All right, let's get back to reality. Let's talk about what actually happened, and let's start with the real heroes of this story, the men and women of the United States Armed Forces that risked their lives so we have the freedom to do what we do. Now, the pilots in those B-2 stealth bombers, the sailors on the submarines that launched the Tomahawks, the intelligence operators who planned this for months, if not years, these are the finest warriors the world has ever seen. They carried out Operation Midnight Hammer with a level of skill and bravery that the talking heads at CNN can't even begin to imagine. General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said these strikes inflicted extremely severe damage and destruction on all 3 sites. This is the top military officer in the entire country, the man with access to the real-time data, to the satellite photos, the bomb damage assessments. His words are not based on they're based on cold hard facts. They're not speculation. He's not anonymous. He is the authority on this. The Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth, was even more direct. He said, and I quote, "Iran's nuclear ambitions have been obliterated." Obliterated. That's not a word you use lightly. It means wiped from existence. He said our massive bombs hit their targets perfectly and worked exactly as designed. He described the scene under the Fort Al facility, which is buried deep inside a mountain, as pure devastation. He's talking about turning reinforced concrete and steel buried under 100 feet or more of rock into dust. Now, a lot of people say, oh, you can't, because we can't see a big crater or something, didn't collapse it. All right. They dropped 14 bunker busters down on air vents. The air vents go directly down into where the people down to the floor. Those bunker busters probably would not have, the smart fuses wouldn't have gone off until they hit solid ground, which would have been below that. And even if the one vent didn't go straight down and it curved a little bit, the first bunker buster would have gone down till it hit solid cement. It would have blown, and the next one came right behind it, dropping down on it. So there is no way that they did not do it. If all you have to do is look at and Trump even talked about this morning during his speech when he was at the NATO summit. If you look at the pictures of the satellite photos, you see this, all the land is charred, like 70 yards or 75 yards all around the center of those things. That is literally from the fire burning under it. That is not from on top. That is from the rocks under and the granite under being cooked. This wasn't some sloppy mission. It was a surgical strike designed for one purpose: to destroy Iran's ability to build a nuclear bomb. The president gave the order, and our military carried out without a single American casualty. for any so-called journalist sitting in their fancy studio in New York to question the effectiveness of that mission isn't just bad journalism, it is a slap in the face to our troops. It is a profound act of disrespect. They're second guessing the very people who protect their right to spew this garbage. You know what? It's fine if they want to attack the president. That's fine. He's fair game. But our men and women in uniform are not. And when you're going after President Trump for the actual success of the mission, not for the ordering of the mission, but the success of the mission, you are attacking our military men and women. That is not okay. It's the equivalent of a fan in the nosebleeds telling a world-class surgeon how to perform brain surgery. Every American involved in this operation was flawless. That's a fact stated by the people who were actually there. The media's narrative is an attack on them, and we will not stand for it. The American people will not stand for it. Now, as we come to the end of our second segment, I'd remind you, like, comment, follow, or hit the subscribe button so you won't miss future episodes. Also, now I'll take any comments or questions. See, we've got a couple people in here on YouTube, but do not see any comments yet. So I will go ahead and grab my one little sip of tea and then go ahead and get started on segment 3. Also, but don't forget to check out our website, Patriots Corner with drhillaw.com. That's Patriots Corner with drhillaw.com, where you can access all of our previous live episodes. And then now for segment 3, the real target, exposing the anti-Trump agenda. So you have to ask why. Why would these legacy media outlets work so hard to downplay a huge American victory? Why would they choose to align their story with a hostile foreign power? And I got to say this because I didn't put this in the script, but just think about it. If we had not damaged their nuclear program beyond years and years and billions in dollars in repairs, do you think that they would have signed a ceasefire agreement? Do you think they would have came to the table? Do you think they would have let us know that they were going to shoot weapons at our base? Do you think they would have told us exactly what time they were going to do it? No. They would have gone ahead and actually fought back. But they know the only reason they shot those rockets was because they needed to prove to their people that they were still strong enough so they could keep a grip on power. It had nothing to do with the American people. And I can promise you, the people within the country of Iran do not know that American base wasn't hit. They've seen AI videos that show the American base was hit probably. The answer, now let's go back to what I was saying. Now, the answer is simple. It has been staring us in the face for years. This has nothing to do with Iran. It has everything to do with President Donald J. Trump. The mainstream media isn't a news organization anymore. It is the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party and the globalist establishment. Their hatred for President Trump is so deep, so all-consuming, that they are willing to burn down our country's credibility and morale just to score a few cheap political points against him. They've got TDS, Trump derangement syndrome. They are like a spiteful team owner who would rather see his own team lose the championship than let the star player he hates get the trophy. They just can't stand his success. They can't stand that he's a strong leader who actually puts America first. Think about it. When President Trump destroyed ISIS, they complained. They complained that he literally destroyed a terrorist organization. When he brokered historic peace deals in the Middle East, they ignored it. They didn't even report it. And now when he eliminates Iran's nuclear threat, they scream that it was a failure. It's a sickness. Their entire business model is built on anti-Trump hysteria, or more commonly known as Trump derangement syndrome, TDS. A successful Trump presidency is a threat to their very existence. White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt, again, nailed it. She said the leaking of this alleged assessment is a clear attempt to demean President Trump and discredit the brave fighter pilots who conducted a perfectly executed mission to obliterate Iran's nuclear program. It's a 2-for-1 deal for them. They get to attack the president and undermine the military in one shot. This isn't a conspiracy theory. It is their playbook. Studies have shown that during President Trump's first term, the media coverage was over 90% negative. I don't care what president there is. Not even during Obama's term did conservative outlets give that much negative coverage of Obama. even conservative outlets like Fox News, when Obama did something that was good for the country, they may not agreed with exactly the main party stuff, but they still gave him props for doing the good thing. The left has gotten too far off the end now. I mean, this is not news. That's an organized political hit job. That's not journalism and is an opposition campaign with press credentials. They're abandon any pretense of being objective. They see themselves as the resistance. And in their twisted world, anything that makes America look strong under President Trump has to be torn down. It just can't happen. He can't look strong or good. So as we're coming into this segment, anybody new up on here, please follow, share, comment. Please engage with me. That's what makes the show better and gets it a little bit longer than usual when I have somebody to communicate with and see if you have any questions, think I'm missing anything like that, let me know. Where in the world is my message coming in? I heard a chat come in, but I can't really see that one. And I don't see which chat room it came off of because my one chat room is not working. So I really cannot read that. Yeah. Okay. No Jesus, no peace. Yeah. No, I totally agree. Sorry, I don't know what happened to my something happened to my little chat box that usually pops up beside whenever I open up my Streamlabs. I did it a different way today, and that widget has disappeared. So it's hard for me to see some of the messaging. So sorry about that if I don't, it takes me a minute to get to your thing. But also check out our website, Patriots Corner with drhillaw.com. That's Patriots Corner with drhillaw.com. We've got all of our previous episodes on there. Also, please follow me on either Rumble, YouTube, or Twitch, whichever one is your preferred social media site, or all of them works for me. And let me know if you think there's anything you would like to see, certain subjects you'd like to be covered, or possibly any different type of structure you'd like to see it done. I've only been doing this for like a month and a half, just started doing it, just fully got my setup. Really, I've only been doing it consistently for a month. I've only been doing it period for about a month and a half, maybe 2 months. And then that was randomly. And then as far as posting videos or anything on social media, I've only been doing that about 3-4 months. Now let's go ahead and get on to segment 4, deconstructing the treasonous leaks. Now let's talk about these leaks. The media acts like this information is the pure objective truth dropped from the heavens. But what is it really? It's a weapon. It's a tiny cherry-picked piece of classified information illegally passed to a friendly journalist by someone with a political axe to grind. Is an information stiletto slipped between the ribs of a national victory. We are not denying that this classified memo wasn't real, but what this classified memo was not complete. It was the rough draft. It was the first draft. In college, when you're writing a paper and you have to submit it, I know going for my doctorate, I don't submit my first draft to my professor for my final grade. You do multiple drafts, and that's literally what that was. And it didn't say that it wasn't obliterated. It said they didn't have very much confidence that it could be. With low confidence, it might be moderately. That means they don't know. They don't have the data to know it. Simple as that. I mean, the assessment that CNN and the Times built their whole story on was literally described as an early or preliminary assessment. In any major military operation, intel comes in constantly. The first reports are almost always incomplete. Every first report's incomplete. It's like arriving at a massive car crash and the first thing you see is a single hubcap on the road, and you immediately run to the cameras and report that the accident was just a minor fender bender involving a lost hubcap. I mean, it's professional malpractice. 10 years ago, if any reporter had come to their editor with that type of report and saying, hey, I want to report this, they would have said, no way. You do not have enough evidence. It is journalistic malpractice. You do not have enough proof to show that that is the final actual truth, that they are trying to hide something or anything. It's been 3 days, but these leakers and their media buddies don't wait. They rush out the most negative, skeptical take they can find because they know that first impressions matter. They set the narrative before anyone has the full picture. This is the same lady who put out the Hunter Biden laptop that it was fake and the Russia collusion and everything, and half of her stories have had to be retracted. How she's still even working as a journalist is astonishing. It makes no sense why they have let her do what she's done and have even let her stay it makes no sense. In fact, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth confirmed the Pentagon has launched a criminal investigation with the FBI into this leak. Think about it. The information being pushed by CNN is the subject of a federal criminal probe, which actually makes them an accessory to treason. This isn't some whistleblowing acting in the public interest. This is a political operative, a member of the deep state committing a crime to sabotage the commander-in-chief, and CNN is their accomplice. They are legally and morally accessories to a crime against national security. And who are these sources anyway? They're always anonymous, faceless, nameless, shadows who are totally unaccountable. We're just supposed to trust these phantoms over the on-the-record statements of the president, the Secretary of Defense, and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs. All right, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs was the chairman of the Joint Chiefs under previous presidents. It's not like he's just magically appointed it in there. He is a general who has risen through the ranks of the military. He is going to say and speak his mind. He is not going to be political. This idea is absurd. The media's use of anonymity as a shield to push any story they want with no fear of being proven wrong is the tool of a coward and the propagandist. They are protecting sources. They're protecting an agenda. It allows them to inject pure poison into the body politic and then wash their hands of any responsibility. This has just gotten ridiculous. If they could have maybe found this in 3-4 months, that's understandable, but there hasn't even been time for Israel to get anybody in there on the ground. There hasn't been time for any foreign agencies like the IAEA or any of the other atomic agencies of the Middle East to get inspectors in there. But I can promise you that if it was not severely damaged or obliterated, if it was still accessible, if there were still active centrifuges, Iran would not have, they would have attacked back worse. They would have not signed a peace agreement and stuck with it. The Ayatollah would have came out of hiding already. If he's even still, if he wasn't hiding in one of where we dropped the bunker buster and we didn't know. We don't know where he is. He hasn't been seen in over a week. Not even by his own people know where he is. I'm sure that we might know where he is, but they're not going to tell us. That's classified information that they might know where he's hiding. But still, nobody really knows where he's at as far as the regular, everyday people in the world. So, this is getting ridiculous that the left cannot let President Trump have a win. This is despicable. It's disgraceful. It is getting old. Okay. This is not attacking. You're not just attacking President Trump. You're going after the pilots and the soldiers who did this, who went out there and risked their life, flew 36 hours, and they dropped them on the exact spot they were told to, of all the physics and scientists and everybody that said, hey, if this missile's dropped here, it will get through far enough to cause significant damage or to totally cause damage. And just because you don't see a big crater in the ground doesn't mean they did not collapse it. All right? That doesn't mean that it is not unusable and wouldn't take years and years to rebuild and wouldn't take billions of dollars to rebuild. And on top of that, if the centrifuges did have nuclear materials in there, you probably can't get down there because, luckily it's granite, so the probability of nuclear materials leaking out of there is slim to none because granite's really good about holding nuclear materials back. But you think that they could actually even get back in there and rebuild, considering it would be there'd be contamination? No. So that's the end of that segment. I'm going to like I said, please like, subscribe, follow, share. I usually come on live Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. This week it was Tuesday, Wednesday, and it'll be Friday this week again. Starting after next week, I will be able to. My semester's over, so I will be able to actually start doing these more consistently and keeping the same dates and time. But honestly, probably for the rest of July and August, I'm going to do them 5 days a week just to see which nights I get which nights and times I get the best crowd, get the most people, and which one's the best time to go live. And then use that to try to figure out exactly what 3 days a week and what times of the week I'm going to go live. So please comment if you have any questions, if you have a question about a specific subject I've covered or not fully understand it, or want me to reply to a comment on it, please let me know. Leave me a message or comment in the comments. I should be able to see it. That's not okay. It is full in there. All right. So I've at least got my Rumble's running live tonight. Looks like it's got my, for some reason it doesn't make it, it's saying degraded on my locals, so it's not going on my locals channel for some reason. It did get to Facebook. That's cool. So if I go through, get the Rumble Studio, but bypass it through a Streamlabs, then my Facebook actually goes live. Sweet. Alrighty. So yeah, I mean, this has just been crazy. And then tomorrow morning at 8:00, I know President Trump has said that because of all the stuff that's been going on, Pete Hegseth and the generals and stuff are going to come out and give a big speech and everything, and show some more information and bring out some more, declassify some more proof that it actually did get destroyed. I know the CIA came out today and gave out some information. Obviously, the CIA probably has assets on the ground that can get there and see what happened. That can actually get them information on it. On top of the Tulsi Gabbard came out and refuted that one single report, and only two people came out and supported of it. And I can promise you they were both two anti-Trumpers that care less about the security and safety of our country and actually care more about only making President Trump look bad, even if it makes us not look as good. I mean, look at first 4 years, President Trump has been, well, every president for the last 30 some odd years has been trying to get NATO to increase their support of the defense, their spending for their defense up to 3 or 5%. Then this week, President Trump, and after the actions we just took, President Trump got everybody but Spain. Even the two new countries have now agreed to spend 5% of their GDP, or put 5% of their GDP into defense. Now, obviously, probably after what he said to Spain about, well, if you're not going to get 5%, I'll get you on tariffs, I have a feeling they'll probably come back and decide to go the 5% on the defense instead of getting it out of tariffs, because he's going to double it on the tariff end. So he's shown that our adversaries, whether it's China, Russia. Now, see, if President Trump had been in office 2 terms in a row, and he had taken this action on Iran back when Russia was wanting to go into Ukraine, Russia never would have gone. All right. But now that Russia is in there, Vladimir Putin has already invested all this money, blood, treasure, all that. He can't pull out without something. His people, some of them would be happy. The hardliners, and definitely, especially in the upper echelons of the government, would have his head. So it's a whole lot harder to negotiate the end of a war that's been going on for 2-3 years than it is to negotiate a war that started like the Pakistan and India, between Pakistan and India, or like with Israel and Iran. Those were a whole lot easier. Or the one down in South Africa and the Congo, and forgot who the other country was in between. But President Trump is beginning negotiation deals done all over the place. Now, obviously, Russia's a little bit harder. We can't go drop bunker busters on there because they have almost as much nuclear weapons as we do, and they have ICBMs that can reach the United States. So it is a whole lot harder to get that negotiation done once it started. But if they had seen that President Trump was not afraid to act before it had started, it probably would have stopped it. It will help. It will make China think twice about going after Taiwan. It will make China think twice about anything because they know that President Trump is not afraid to act. He's not going to draw some red line and then say, don't do it. You better not do it. I mean, just like when after Biden said that and President Trump during his when he was running for office, he goes, I'm just gonna fucking bomb the hell out of them. Don't do it. I mean, come on. I mean, the unshakable truth is the administration and allies. I mean, while the mainstream media was busy spinning its lies, the White House and our allies were setting the record straight. Of course, they only gave that a tiny fraction of the airtime. They give all their time to an anonymous liar, 10-minute headline segment, and then On the Record Truth gets 15 seconds before a commercial break. That's it. Just like CNN will sit there and put out a fake story, and then they'll go ahead and retract the story on a Friday afternoon at like 5, 6 o'clock when everybody's getting off work and nobody's paying attention, or late on a Sunday afternoon. Of course not. President Trump, in his classic direct way, called them out on Truth Social. He wrote, and I'm quoting him in all caps, just like he did, fake news CNN, together with the failing New York Times, has teamed up in an attempt to demean one of the most successful military strikes in history. The nuclear sites in Iran are completely destroyed. He doesn't mince words because this is a time for truth and political correctness, not for political correctness. He is the commander-in-chief. He knows what he ordered, and he knows the results. The White House put out a full rebuttal. Caroline Leavitt stated bluntly, this alleged assessment is flat out wrong. She pointed out the obvious. Everyone knows what happens when you drop 14 30,000-pound bombs perfectly on their targets. Total obliteration. I mean, come on, people, take 14 times 30,000. That is enough tons of bombs and ordnance to literally cause an earthquake. There is no way that it did not. And centrifuges are very, very sensitive. So even if it didn't necessarily destroy the whole place, I can promise you the concussion from those bombs would have destroyed the centrifuges and caused them to start leaking or explode themselves. There is no way in the world they can go in there and just start this up tomorrow or in a month or two. It is going to take them years and years. It is just common sense. But common sense has no place in this mainstream media's world today. In the evidence they are desperately trying to hide from you, the Israeli Atomic Energy Commission, you know, the people who actually live next door to Iran, the people with the most to lose, the real experts, they issued a statement. And what did they say? You want to guess? They said that the U.S. strike destroyed key infrastructure, rendering the uranium enrichment plants inoperable. They went on to say that the strikes have set back Iran's ability to develop nuclear weapons by many years. So who are you going to believe? An anonymous low-level loser leaking to CNN or the official Atomic Energy Commission of our closest ally in the Middle East? Also, it's funny. Before President Trump made the strike, they were talking about how, Iran is years and years away from making a nuclear weapon, but now all of a sudden they're only months. You can't have it both ways, media. I mean, come on, people. Wake up. Use your brain. Listen to what they've said in the past. Listen to what they're saying now. They believe that people's attention span and memories are so short that you're not actually going to remember what they said 3 months ago, which unfortunately most don't because they're so tied up in watching their video games. They get their news on 20-second clips on TikTok and short YouTube shorts and whatever, Instagram or Facebook. They don't actually watch full 5-10 minute videos to watch the whole speech, to actually get the context of the actual speech or the context of the information that they are trying to retain. And then they do not do the research and look back at what they said before. I mean, if that's not enough, how about we hear from the Iranians themselves? The Iranian foreign ministry spokesman, Ismail Baghai, I know I butchered the last name, admitted it to Al Jazeera. He said our nuclear installations have been badly damaged. That is for sure. Now, obviously, he's not going to say destroyed because he doesn't want to look weak. Even the enemy is admitting how devastating it was. While our own media tries to deny it, imagine a courtroom where the star witness for the prosecution is the defendant himself admitting he did it, and the reporter in the back of the room runs out and prints the headline, "Defendant allegedly in vicinity of crime scene." It is a shameful, historic level of journalistic malpractice. The evidence is overwhelming. The president is right. The secretary of defense is right. The Israelis are right. Even the Iranians admit it. The only ones telling a different story are the people with a political vendetta against President Trump. That's only people that are doing it. So it's getting ridiculous, people. Grow up. It's insane that y'all would actually believe them. That just magically all of a sudden in 3 days they're going to know what happened in 7,000 miles away in a country that is our enemy, that is literally a police controlled state that does not let internet enter media out. How do you expect them to have found that out so fast? Now, coming to the end of our fifth segment and getting towards the end here, but please make sure that you follow, like, subscribe, and hit that follow or share, subscribe button, share for future episodes. Also, please check out our website at Patriots Corner with drhilllaw.com. That is Patriots Corner with drhilllaw.com. And I have not put any blogs up there, but as soon as I get some people logged in and actually have some members, I will start putting weekly blogs up. And then also, if I have to adjust the time or dates of the show, I will send out emails to the members on there to let them know when it's starting. Also, you can hit the subscribe button on there, which will take you to my locals community. There you can support the show, gain access to extra content, because I'm still building up my following enough on YouTube to be able to do subscriptions on there. So right now I'm doing my subscriptions through Rumble. And also, please comment, like, join in the discussion so we can make this a little bit longer of an episode. It's still 42 minutes today with going off script enough times. But in conclusion, what we have seen after the Iran strike is a fireable, if not criminal offense against the truth. It is a betrayal of our country, an attack on our military, and an insult to your intelligence. CNN, the New York Times, and the rest of their corrupt clubs have shown us once again exactly who they are. They are not journalists. They are activists. They aren't watchdogs. They are attack dogs for the Democratic Party. And actually now it's a Democrat Socialist Party. I'm going to get off on another little rant here. Have y'all looked at the mayor that New York might elect? If this mayor gets elected, he will be the most socialist mayor in all history of America. This guy wants to decriminalize sex work. I mean, that's how crazy this guy is. I mean, he literally wants communism. He wants socialism to the T. He wants government-run grocery stores. Really? I mean, is he trying to turn us into communist China or trying to turn us into Russia? Because Russia, everything is, except for a couple big rich fat cats, which are really still part of the government, everything is government owned. I mean, is that really what the left is trying to do? Is literally turn us into Russia or what Germany used to be? And y'all call our president the dictator? You call our president the Nazi? You call our president the Republican president? Any of that? No, that is what the left is. Y'all are the definition of Nazis, which was a socialist party. Period. Y'all are the ones that are acting. Y'all are the ones who did not have a primary, who shut RFK Jr. out of the primary, who wouldn't allow him to get on any of the ballots. Y'all are the ones who kicked your president, who won the primary with 40 million votes, out of the primary, or 20 million votes, whatever it was, and inserted somebody who had no votes. That is the definition of a dictatorship or an autocracy or a monarchy, not a republic union. That is, no, y'all are the party that is the problem with this country, not the Republicans, not Trump, because he wants to protect it. It's funny. 5 weeks ago, you were out there protesting saying, don't deport the illegals, but now y'all are worried about sleeper cells? What do you think he was trying to do? Why do you think Trump was trying to deport, to keep rid of sleeper cells? I mean, they had a choice. They could have stood with America. They could have celebrated a win for our national security. They could have honored the incredible bravery of our troops. But no, they didn't. They chose to stand with the leakers, the liars, the saboteurs. They chose to push a narrative that undermines our president, demoralizes our military, and gives comfort to our enemies. That is literally the definition of treason. They do this because they think you're stupid. They think they can control what you believe. They believe that if they repeat a lie often enough from enough of their platforms, it will become the truth. But they are hopefully dead wrong. I mean, unfortunately, there's a lot of I see it on TikTok all the time. There's a lot of far left Democrats out there that will believe, because they just can't. They have let their feelings control them instead of using their actual intellect and knowledge to think. Because I will admit when President Trump has done something wrong, or when something that the Republicans are trying to do doesn't work. That is the difference between the right and the left. We are actually still acting on intellect, not emotion. The left has gone to all acting on emotion, not intellect. Because I'm sorry, if you're acting on intellect, then you cannot be 100% right. Your ideas cannot be right, and everybody else's can't be wrong. That is what has gone on in this world that is getting too far out on the left. Y'all have all been brainwashed by these progressive universities. Luckily, I went to a conservative Christian university to get my doctoral degree. And then for my undergrads, I got them in state universities in the South that were not taken over by liberals, that still had a lot of liberal professors, but did have some conservative ones. So you got ideas from both sides. But I mean, people, wake up. I know on the right, we are awake. We see their lies. We see their agenda, and we are not going to let them get away with it. Our fighting men and women deserve better. Our president deserves better. And the American people deserve a media that tells the truth, not one that invents a reality to fit a political narrative. It is ridiculous. So it is up to us to fight back. You won't see this truth on your nightly news. You won't read it unless you watch maybe Hannity or something. You won't read it on the front page of the New York Times, that's for sure. The only way you will get real stories out like this is if we share it. So I'm asking you to do 3 things. First, hit the like button to show you stand with President Trump and the U.S. military. Second, subscribe to this channel and ring that bell so you never miss the truth. And third, and this is the most important one, share this video. We have got to get the truth out. Send it to your friends and your family. Post it everywhere. We have to be the media, the new media now. We have to be the ones who hold them accountable. They can't silence all of us. Let's make this thing go viral and show the world we know the truth. We have, obviously, there's a small amount of us out there doing this, but we need a whole lot more. We need to get it out, because MSNBC, MSNDC, I'm trying to say the way Sean Hannity coined really well, ABC, CBS, NPR, which is another reason why we want them defunded, CNN, New York Times, keep on going down the line. They will keep pushing anything that is anti-Trump, that says Trump cannot win. As they can't admit that all the lies about calling him a Nazi and calling him a dictator and calling him a fascist and all this stuff were actually just that, lies. They cannot let it be proven that he actually is a peace through strength type president, and that he is just a businessman doing what's best for the American people, what is best for our country and best for the world, not what he emotionally thinks is best. So that is it for tonight. I don't see anybody in this live right now. I guess I should have started a little bit later. I know last Wednesday I had over 130 people on it, but I think I started about 8:39. Don't see as many people on here tonight, so please, like I said, join us join us 3 nights a week, usually on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. This week it was Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Current times are not set exactly. It's usually around about 8:30. So please subscribe or follow and sign up on our website, Patriots Corner with drhilllaw.com. Again, that is Patriots Corner with drhilllaw.com to receive notifications every time we go live. Each episode will be uploaded and available to Rumble, YouTube, and Spotify, and then also Amazon and iHeartRadio. If I don't get it the same night, it'll be up the next morning or afternoon. Sometimes it just depends on how late I get off here and what I have to do with the kids and stuff, if I have time to get it done that night. But please let me know what you think. Like I said, we have got to get this out. This is getting ridiculous. The left is just they cannot let President Trump win. This has nothing to do with their freaking something wrong he did. This is to do the fact that they don't even want to let our military win because President Trump ordered it. Even though this will go down historically and it will be taught in the military books and military war books and war colleges for years to come. To pull off a 36-hour round trip flight, 14,000 miles roughly, with 2 pilots never landing, touching the ground, fueling while in the air the whole time, firing 30 Patriot missiles that stayed in the air for over 2 hours before they hit their targets, and timed it just exactly as the B-2s were getting ready to leave the airspace, drop their bombs and leave the airspace, the bunker busters. The Patriot missiles were then landing as a decoy to, if they had any air defenses up, that they would have been too concentrated on those to go after the B-2s or the F-22s or the F-35s. And then everybody was out before Iran ever even knew it. To pull that off it's unimaginable. Trust me, I know. I work as a real estate developer, as a project manager, and it's hard to get 4 people to do the right thing and time it perfectly, much less that much. That's better than putting an orchestra together. It's bigger than conducting a symphony in perfect unison. I mean, it's literally like a Mozart times 10. That's how much it took. So please share, subscribe, follow, get this out. I'm just love doing this, want to do it more, would love to do this full time, but I've got to be able to monetize it. Single, married, father, 3 kids. We got 3 boys I'm trying to raise, trying to do this for some extra money right now until I can hopefully do it good enough for a full-time job. I wasn't born with money. I don't come from money. I had a single mom, 2 kids, she had no college degree, raised us on her own. Everything says I should not be where I'm at today. I broke and beat every statistic because I didn't give up. I didn't let the Democrat Party make me believe that I was worthless and that it was the government's fault and that I had no way to get up, and it was all because of the rich people. The reason why I wasn't going to get better in life, why I wasn't going to go to college, why I didn't deserve to go to college. I went and did it. I didn't let nobody tell me no. It took a whole lot longer. I didn't get my associate's degree till I was in my late 30s. I didn't get my bachelor's degree. I started in 2017, and now is January 2018, and now is associates, bachelor's in finance, bachelor's with another major in economics, an MBA with a concentration in project management, and a doctoral degree of law and policy. No, not a law degree, but law and policy, like is working as a policy, writing policy, or working in urban development, or running for Congress or Senate, or lobbyist, that type of law and policy degree. So it can be done. And if you want something from somebody that's I drove trucks over the road for 10 years. It's been to every state in the United States. Well, the continental United States. Only 2 states I haven't been to are Alaska and Hawaii. I've met people all over the United States. I've been everywhere. I've seen it. So if you want a opinion from somebody who has not been locked up in one little city, one little area, who has actually seen people all over the United States, can actually talk from experience and speak from knowledge and personal experiences, not somebody who's just watched a video or has listened to somebody on the news that's never ever left their hometown or their state, or it's been stuck inside the beltway of Washington, D.C., then please check me out. Watch my channel, share it, like,